visit some brother out on my call. This is the moment you're meant to know.
Well, hello there, sunflowers, and how are you guys today? Well, I'm very excited, super extremely excited, because Justin Bieber's long-awaited musical return has finally happened. He has finally released his album Swag on Friday. Somehow that just slipped by me over the weekend, so I am here to talk about it, do a reading on it as well. But I just want to talk about something else that I also found interesting recently in the news is that Justin Bieber had to pay Scooter Braun's. Now, he had to pay in the sense of it was a settlement, and he had to pay $31.5 million to Scooter Braun's, and this is how it was distributed, and this is why. He needed to pay $26 million in tour debts, and that's because he had to cancel his tour due to his health crisis he had. You guys remember that? Yeah, apparently he has to pay for the tour debt, even though it was a health crisis. And then he needs to pay $5.5 million in unpaid commissions to Scooter Braun. So for that, I can see that Justin Bieber was definitely going through a lot behind closed doors, but I digress. Let's just sweep all that underneath the rug because that is not important and that's not why we're here today. We are here today to celebrate Justin Bieber's great accomplishment. I'm honestly not even kidding or exaggerating. 2025, he has finally came back. This album is just a masterpiece, and I've apparently heard, according to articles, is the fact that this album is the first album that Justin Bieber has released that he has full creative freedom since he's left Scooter Braun as a manager. So there is just many purposes and reasons to be excited for this album and this debut for a new version of Justin Bieber we are seeing. And honestly, I could talk about every song that I enjoyed on this album, and I could be here for about like a good 30 minutes just talking about that. However, I will just list a few songs that I did enjoy. I enjoyed Swag, of course. That was the name of the album, and it also was a good track as well. I also enjoyed Butterflies, and I also enjoyed Daisies. That's just to name a few. Now, I am going to talk a little bit in depth about some of the songs, or interludes, or snippets, segments, because this album was beautifully crafted. It was paced nicely. Therapy Session, which is the name of a song, was literally like Justin Bieber kind of having a therapy session. I'm not sure who he was talking to, but that guy was kind of funny. Sorry, I have cat hair. But it really felt like a therapy session where Justin Bieber was talking about the fact that he feels the weight of when people are talking about and expressing their concern for him, worrying about him, checking out on his mental health. It actually stresses him out more than you guys realize. So I guess he's saying you guys are doing me more harm than good. So, that's just how Justin Bieber feels. I'm glad he is able to express how he feels, A. And B, I'm glad that he is able to express how he feels and not care about what people are going to say and put it in an album. And to combat that, not combat that, but to go along with that, another piece to add on to that sentiment is the fact that Justin Bieber has a good sense of humor. Now, I kind of saw this in the previous, not in his recent posts, but like towards like early spring, late, was it early spring? Could have been like mid-spring. I started seeing he had like a sense of humor. I'm starting to see that Haley has a sense of humor, and I'm kind of starting to like their sense of humor. But Justin Bieber put in a song, Standing on Business. And you guys remember that viral moment where he was talking about standing on business, or he was trying to quote standing on business, and it kind of came out wrong. He referenced that in his album, and not only that, he also referenced his viral paparazzi moment of money, 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 and made it into a song saying, "Is it money or is it something else?" I forget what it was. So I really love the fact that Justin Bieber can acknowledge the fact that he has maybe crashed out in the media and is able to use that in his album and able to laugh at it and not feel bad about it. So because of that, I'm glad he's able to have some self-awareness and a sense of humor toward when it comes to himself. I say all that because that is everything that this album exactly is. Like I was talking about with Therapy Session, how funny those two went hand in hand together. And another song about Justin Bieber is his song Soulful Song. It actually summed up the exact sentiment that I was feeling with Justin Bieber. The exact sentiment and the fact that you could really feel like Justin Bieber's soul. At least I could feel Justin Bieber's soul when I was listening to this. I really like the music. It felt like a different vibe. It felt more like authentic, more aligned, more who Justin Bieber is. I was just like, yes. I'm just like the way Justin Bieber presents himself and his aesthetic. This seems like the kind of music that he would be into. And then furthermore, he also is expressing troubles in his marriage, talking about his mental health, all those types of things in this album, literally having a track called Therapy Session. So he really, and that's exactly why I'm going to be doing a reading on him today, to see how does Justin Bieber feel now that he has finally released this album. So I think that was everything that I had to mention about Justin Bieber and his album Swag. If you guys have not checked it out, please do check it out. And honestly, if you're not a fan of it, that's okay. Listen to at least like a good minute of it. Like at least listen to a good minute of it. Try to hear the words and much less of the melody and the tune of it. Just try to hear the words, feel the words, envision the words, because he is honestly good at very describing it. But hey, he's a Pisces. So because of that, I'm just going to shuffle the cards and do a reading on Justin Bieber. Let's go ahead and move that over. All right, Justin Bieber, how are you feeling now that you've released your album? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this album because he has been talking about how he has put all of his energy and dedication into his album. He basically ate, slept, breathed this album. So because of that, he worked on this album for like what, a good 7 months or more. So it's just great. It's just great to see that the baby that Justin Bieber has been working on, incubating, to finally be released. It's just, I have no words for it. That's how good it is. So hopefully the cards will match just an equally soulful reading. So Justin Bieber, how do you feel now that your album Swag has came out? Which is actually quite an interesting title. So we're talking about the swag, like as in a vibe. Oh, okay. Alright, I guess we'll just use those two cards because they have flipped out. So the first card we have is the Mother of Swords, and then I'll use this as a block card, and that is the Devil card. So let's just see what's surrounding this, because this is quite interesting, honestly. Okay. The Page of Pentacles. Ooh, the Death card. Past, love that. Seven of Swords. Okay. And Page of Swords. Well, first off, lots of swords. We have the Queen of Swords, Seven of Swords, and Page of Swords. And then we have two major Arcana cards, the Death card and then the Devil card. Also, so first off, it is kind of heavy, or it is all mental, but that kind of exactly fits the vibe of his album. But looking in the past, we see right here what Justin Bieber was dealing with is a transformation. A part of him, maybe it could have been an ego of him, has died. Maybe he had let go of everything that was no longer serving him, or that was holding him back, or wasn't or wasn't fueling him in the way he needed it, needed the people to show up in his life. So therefore, whoever did not fit the new standard Justin Bieber was trying to evolve into, he basically cut you off. So because of that, we see now where he is today is the Queen of Swords. He's very strategic. However, he's strategic in a feminine sense, which would be very fitting because he's a Pisces and that's a water sign, and water is the extreme, the ultimate feminine. So because of that, for him to be in tune to his feminine, to be in tune with his Pisces, is even though this isn't a water card, but this is like mentally attuned to the femininity or the feminine energy within himself, to be in tune with that today. Now that he's released his album, now that his album has released all the thoughts, everything that has been weighing on his mental, everything that he's been taking the time to process. This is also an owl, and an owl is all about wisdom and digging deep within. And instead of attacking, instead of being defensive, instead of being impulsive, reactive, without fully thinking through, he's now learning to use his words as a weapon. In the sense of using his words that he feels internally, mentally, his thoughts, the thoughts in his head can be used as a weapon in the sense of to get to express how he feels, and that helps alleviate the devil, because the devil is the block card here. So alleviate. I'm honestly trying to figure this out because it feels like it's been a weight or a burden that's been lifted off of Justin Bieber since he's released this album, or at least since this album has finally came into completion. It's like everything that he felt like was holding him back, and everything he felt like he couldn't overcome, and all the lies that he told himself or he believed, or the things that people told him over the years and he didn't match up. And so because of that, he thought of himself of less than or worthless, or he could have been feeling like he was trapped as a cog in the machine, never really having a true, authentic voice of himself, always having to please everybody else, but never pleasing himself. So all that tied up into the devil, that's what has been weighing him down. That's what has been blocking him. That's what has been keeping him from moving forward. However, underneath that is the Queen of Swords, somebody who's able to mentally intellectualize, is able to process things before reacting, no longer allowing those, I'm going to say it's demons or negative energy to hold him back. Being able to know that even though those are things that he thinks, that he can overcome them and he is stronger than his thoughts. Because we see right down here at the very bottom, his foundation, what he's either overcoming or what he's learned to, what he's carrying with him at this very moment that he definitely feels confident in, and that's the Page of Pentacles. He's feeling confident in the sense, he's feeling confident that he has created, like I call it, this album is his baby. He's getting back into music. It's kind of awkward for him, but it was awkward in the sense of, how do I come back to, he was like visualizing this moment literally, how when I come back to the music industry, who is Justin Bieber? Like, what is this album going to say about me, who I am, where I've been, my journey? He was like, when I make this album, when I come back, I don't want to be the same Justin Bieber before I had that health crisis. I want to be transformed. I want to be new. That could have been something that made him feel like he's had a second chance at life, and he has reprocessed. He has processed those emotions, and now that he is also a father on top of that, he also has other feelings of parental figures. However, the Page of Pentacles usually represents feminine energy even more too. So we just see that he's definitely in his feminine receptive energy. He's feeling emotional. He's internalizing everything. He's processing. He's doing all the inner work, the shadow work, the processing. And we see here at the very top, even though this is the Seven of Swords, and that usually symbolizes somebody that thinks they're getting away with something. This fox isn't quite trying to trick anybody. However, it is laying on top of the sword if you just happen to not look close enough. So therefore, he's been able to overcome a lot of things mentally, but there's still just one more thing that is underneath the rug in his deeper level of subconscious that he hasn't quite touched yet, and he might need the high priestess to get there. But we see moving forward, he has, weirdly enough, I only say weirdly enough because I feel like it's kind of a downgrade, because in the present moment he's a queen of swords, but then in the future he turns to a page of swords. So it's like kind of going from like the page, it's going from like a queen to a princess status. So there we go. It's another feminine energy here again. But all the swords are never about attacking. It's all about being in control, being in control of his mental. He feels as though nobody is allowed to tap into his mental as much as he allowed them to do before. And I know I'm talking a lot about his mental, but because that seems to be the theme of his album, talking about his mental, how he's been processing things, how has he been dealing lately. We know that he has some mental health issues that he's talked about in the past. So because of that, that's all accumulating. It's becoming a combination, and it's becoming the big, I'll say, the glow up moment of Justin Bieber that has brought him to the man who he is today. And this album is the epitome of that. It is like Justin Bieber Jr., if you want to think about it. It's like baby number 2. He had 2 babies this year, metaphorically and physically. So because of that, let's see what the Oracle cards has to say about Justin Bieber now that his album has came out. Well, we have the White Mouse. And I'll just pull one card from the top right here. Okay. Interesting. What do we have at the bottom? Okay. I like that. That kind of, that brought it full circle. Okay. The first card that came out was the White Mouse. Very beautiful. It's almost like having a white dove. It's being able to be, it shows, well, actually, interestingly enough, looking at this, now that I'm actually taking a moment to really look at the meaning of these cards, I'm going to have to say that this album was very vulnerable for him. Like extremely vulnerable, like stripping like the shell off, the persona, the mask, the ego, and just exposing all his, like they say, exposing your soft underbelly. And that's exactly what Justin Bieber did when it came to this album. However, we see that's what the White Mouse symbolizes, vulnerability, but also having some courage and resilience to be able to show vulnerability, because vulnerability these days is honestly hard to come across. Authenticity these days is hard to come across with people. So people are so self-centered and self-focused in the negative sense that they aren't able to think outside of themselves. So with Justin Bieber, he is self-centered and self-focused, but in the positive sense, in that he's trying to better himself. And through the bettering of himself and improving himself, he created an album that hopefully anybody that could feel like him or resonate with his lyrics or can be like touched by his lyrics, and you know that there's some truth, there's some authenticity in there. He's not just making this up for money, for album sales. Like he's just genuinely making an album because he wants to make an album. However, we see here in the middle card is the lie, and the lie just happens to ironically go with the devil, at least in my opinion. So I still see there that something is not quite right. when it okay, I like this, honestly. Here for lie, we have deceitfulness, of course, obviously, but we have weak and we have afraid, and then we also have intentional. So the way that I see that with Justin Bieber right now, going along with the devil, like I said, all those negative things, all those negative thoughts that could keep him perpetuating on a perpetual cycle of negativity, they weigh him down. But also at the same time, there are the things that once he's able to finally address them and realize that they're just lies, are there things that he's weak, areas that he's weak in, and they're just highlighted. So by talking about them or expressing about them, it's like healing, doing that inner work. Even though I don't see any cups here, I see all the emotional work is being done mentally first. In order to change, you have to make the mental change first in order to change everything else, because that's how powerful the brain is. You can overcome anything once you get the brain to comply. So we see here then at the very end is the fool, which is somebody who is on a journey. We're back to that innocence again, just like that white mouse. You see that weird devil slipping in. It could be Justin Bieber, honestly, too, himself, just his mental health issues. Maybe that could just be something that taps into his confidence and his ability to trust within himself. However, once he's able to believe that those are things that are just working against him and he has the power to overcome them, he'll be able to make beautiful masterpieces of artwork, honestly. Like they say, why not turn your pain into art and commoditize it? So that's exactly what Justin Bieber did. He used his album, he used his creative talents, he used his creative freedom finally to do something that Justin Bieber wanted to do, and it was to talk about himself. And music is one thing to feel within your soul, because it's all about vibration and frequency. So that's why he also probably chose a much slower tempo of an album. But he also has some other songs that were kind of like a little bit more up tempo, but it was pretty much like a chill song. Like it could be something you have in the background playing. It's not like, if you guys understand my reference here, it's kind of like lo-fi without being like lo-fi. It's like something you can listen to in the background while you're like doing homework, while you're trying to like maybe do some like maybe a little bit of meditation, or if you're just trying to. I mean, meditation should be done in peace, but sometimes just to get you in that zen, that frequency, in that headspace. Listening to his album could probably start having you thinking about yourself or certain situations you've gone through. So this album is definitely there to help anybody out there to process emotions, just like he needed to process emotions, and that's his gift to the universe. He's using his God-given talents as a celebrity and a musician to have therapy for himself, but B, also share his therapy with that he has with himself with everybody else, and sharing the gift of self expression, no, self introspection, and doing some self introspection. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading of Justin Bieber. I sure did. It was very powerful, enlightening even. His album, like I said, it was heavy. When I saw the devil was like the crown part when it popped out. But the death and the devil card, it was a great transformation. Then I saw a bunch of swords, so I already knew this was mental. And sometimes the swords are already temperamental, period. So because of that, and then we only have one pentacle. I try, and like you saw, I tried talking about the album along the way. That was literally the foundation of this entire reading, is finding about how he's feeling now that his album has been released. But it all seems to be mental with him. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I sure did. Please leave your comments down below if you enjoyed this reading. If you have any questions, or anybody would like to do a reading on And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I would really appreciate it. Tell me, how did you guys, also in the comments, tell me how did you guys enjoy his album Swag? Did you enjoy it? Did you feel as though he was maybe taking shots at his wife? Or do you feel like he was really like being like genuinely authentic about how troublesome it's been for him and Haley? So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please give it a thumbs up if you haven't already. You've made it to this far in the content already. I'm sorry for all the really. I think we're on Mercury retrograde too, so pardon me if my English is a bit choppy today. Fighting the retrograde, apparently. So I hope you enjoyed this. I was on fire though. So yeah, I really felt inspired by Justin Bieber's reading. I felt motivated by the motivation that he has had putting into this album, the dedication he's put into this album, the literal life, energy, everything has been put into this album, and I see exactly why. It translated beautifully. It was long awaited, Justin Bieber. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for releasing this album and really taking your time to perfect this album. It was a beautiful masterpiece, in my opinion. So with that being said, now I will see you sunflowers in the next one. Sunflowers!